If you feel like your life completely fell apart and you don't even know where to start again, this is for you. This is not just your garden variety starting over. It feels like identity loss. You're not really sure what your identity is, confusion, and you have no fucking direction. How do I know this? Because I've lived through this shit, I've overcome it, and I'm still managing this thing with my life. And here's what you're experiencing: I don't feel like myself, and I don't trust myself. You have these thoughts. So, this is what we're going to fix now. You don't feel like yourself anymore. You feel a disconnect, and you feel disconnected from your old self. Like you start reminiscing, you start remembering things. You start thinking, oh, back when I was in preschool, not preschool, you can't remember that far. When I was in middle school, high school, and when I was in college, and when I got my first job, all of those things from now, all of that seems like a huge disconnect. And you have this one thought: who even am I now? And you start comparing your old self, the old you, to the current you. And this whole thing feels like one big fucking identity collapse. You lost self trust. You don't trust your decisions, your energy, because every time you make a decision, you think, is that because it's really me, or is that my high state that's making the decision, or is that my impulsive decision? So you also have this constant fear: what if I relapse? And you hesitate on every single thing, and this makes you stop taking action. You keep waiting to feel normal. You think, once I feel better, I'll start. But that feeling never stabilizes, because you're always going up, down, up, and down. So you delay, overthink, and you stay fucking stuck. All right, listen up. This is a story of when I just got out of rehab. I got out of rehab on Feb 3rd, 2023. Feb 3rd or 4th, I think it was the 3rd. And you got to understand, when I was in rehab, it was like I went back to high school again, and I was in the dormitory, but it was only a dorm, like every room had 6 people in my block, and I was living with 5 other men, and they used to lock the room at 8 p.m. every night so that we wouldn't escape because there have been cases where people escaped or tried to escape from the rehab. So that was locked at 8 p.m. every night, and it was open at 6 a.m. every morning, and they would wake us up. So from that routine that was built into our schedule, I got back home, and I had so much freedom. I had, because that felt like a prison. Trust me, that felt like a fucking prison. So I got back home. I was living with my mom. Now I live separately. But when I was living with my mom, there was so much freedom. I could wake up at any time. I could sleep at any time. Of course, not too late, but it was okay. It was not as crazy as 8 p.m. And I felt so disconnected. Why? Because, first of all, in my mind, I was so confused because I had no fucking clue what was going on. And when I used to recount all the times I said certain things, or did certain things, or behaved in a certain way, I would play those memories and those scenarios back in my head, in my mind, and I would think, man, was I in a high state? Was I in a full blown manic phase? Or was that a hypomanic phase? Or was that a low state, the way I reacted or the way I responded? So there was a huge disconnect, and it was very frustrating because from after having a full blown manic phase, which got me sent to rehab, came out totally stable with medication, of course. You always got to take your medication. And then this happened, and I know because I got lots of awareness. I'm at grade six, what clinical psychologists and psychiatrists say is emotional insight or emotional awareness. I'm at that grade or that stage or that level, you can say, and I'm able to function normally in society. And I keep in touch with my treating team. If anything happens, if I see any kind of warning signs, I immediately inform them and I get the necessary steps done. So now I was so disconnected. So I didn't know what was going on. And my mind playing back all those times, I felt, okay, who am I really? Like, am I really this person on the medication or am I that person? Because I thought that I was, and I actually was, an over the top extroverted extrovert. But this whole experience from rehab, it educated me, it helped me see the light, and I understood that that's not me. This, I thought this was also not me because I was still figuring myself out. And the crazy part, I felt so stuck because I had to get a job, I had to earn some money for myself. Of course, as Indians, we live with our parents, and when I was living with my mom, I felt, man, I shouldn't be dependent on her for my living, for my food, for my stay any longer. I'm 34. Back then I was 31, I guess. 31, yeah, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. So I believe that I needed to get to find what I wanted to do with my life, but I felt so fucking stuck and I was so goddamn lost. I even remember telling my mom multiple times, Ma, I'm lost. I don't know what to do with my life. And she would try to console me the best she could. However, even she didn't know that it was because of the way I was feeling. And I didn't know it as well, but now I know 3 years later, which is why I'm making this video to probably help you on your journey. And the craziest thing, I always had a fear of relapse. I thought if I felt happy, if I felt like I was in a good mood, I thought I would definitely get relapse. I'd get a relapse. I thought that, all right, I'm not supposed to feel happy. I'm not supposed to feel good because that would lead to a manic phase. And there was a time later on when I got much better and I created my first live video on Instagram for my online business, the social media management business. And I spoke for 15 minutes straight. And I still remember I was so fucking scared. I sent that whole video to my counselor, to my psychologist. I said, check this out. I'm talking only about work, only about the business, but I feel scared because you said that excessive talk and talking a lot without a break is a symptom of the manic phase. I'm scared that I'm getting a relapse. Luckily, they said, don't worry, this is not a relapse, this is normal, it's okay, take a chill pill. So now, looking back at all of that, I feel that I had to go through that phase, that fear, that frustration, that disconnect to get to where I am now. And I believe you can do it too. The real reason you're stuck, you're trying to rebuild with an unstable internal state. You rely on feelings, but feelings keep fucking changing. No structure equals no progress. How you actually rebuild. Stop waiting to feel ready. That's never gonna fucking happen. You gotta start with small actions. Something like, also simple structure. Don't try to do complex things all at once. That's never gonna work out. You're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna get a lot of mental fatigue. You don't want that. So when I say simple structure, I mean you have to, for example, start with waking up at the same time every day and going to bed at the same time every day. Something like that will absolutely help you. And eating your meals at the same time every day. And you got to understand, in this game, consistency beats intensity. And you got to focus on rebuilding self trust for yourself through action. And here's something that I heard all of these millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs talk about. Now, I'm an entrepreneur, but this is not what I said. This is what I heard. So I don't really remember. And I may be paraphrasing it, but credit to whoever said this. They said, act the way you want to be, and soon you'll be the way you act. Which means you're not ready, but act. Just kind of like the fake it till you make it, but it's not fake it. You're acting, you're visualizing it for yourself, and you're acting the way you want to be, and soon you'll be the way you act. Now, I wake up at 7 a.m. every day, no matter what. Whether I have an alarm or I don't have the alarm, I always wake up at 7 a.m. Going to bed, I'm still working on that because I'm still doing a lot of research at night. But I'm trying to sleep by 12 a.m. maximum. So that's about that. Here's a shift for you. You don't find yourself again. You build a new version. You build a new version. What do I mean by this? I mean, don't think about the past. Don't think about, hey, I was that person. I should get back to that. Think of it like this. Think of it like, that was me. This is me. And now I'm going to build something that has parts of that, because that's part of me. It was who I am. It was me, and now this is who I am. And then I'm building something, and I'm building a new version, which is a culmination of all of these things. And remember, if you feel lost right now, you're not alone in that. I'm also building. I'm also figuring my life out, my business out. But the only difference is probably you're at level 1, I'm at level 100, kind of like solo leveling. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You're not alone in that. We're all together in this. Thank you so much for watching.